I think my most craziest one was dealing with a death in a home. Older individual died of natural causes, but where the part gets crazy is it was an older individual who died from natural causes who wasn't found for many months.
Ooh. Welcome to The Closing Table, where the podcast where Utah's top real estate professionals share their stories, strategies, and the behind-the-scenes hustle that leads to big wins in the market. I'm your host, Landon Franchow, President and CEO of Miracle Movers and Storage, and today I'm sitting down with Aric Wiszt, a standout agent who's making serious moves in the industry. He's with RealtyPath, and he specializes in the crazy. Information is power. He loves to teach and discuss all things real estate. He lives for excitement and loves going fast, whether it's on pavement or off-road. Let's get into it. So Aric, tell me, how did your journey into real estate begin?
Oh boy. Okay, so I'll make it quick on this one. I came from an automotive background in sales and working stuff in the tool industry, and I had a friend that wanted me to be into real estate for years, probably like 10 years. He kept asking me, hey, come into this with me. And I said, look, I have no interest in coming into real estate with you. I think it's a bunch of dorky salesmen who that's all they do, because that was all my experience that I ever had was door opener agents who didn't really provide a ton of value or ask the questions that I didn't know to ask. And so even though he was my friend and I knew he was successful, I was just like, this is not for me. Literally, like, I think it was like 7 years. I came home one day and he called me up and goes, hey, you're at home, right? And I said, yeah. He goes, you start real estate school on Monday. I already paid for it. I'm tired of taking no. You're doing this and you're going to come work with me and we're going to set some stuff up and go bigger with this. And I said, all right. And so I had no intention still of doing it. I took the class, did it all online, got my license, no big deal. First 6 months of real estate, you know, I believe like whatever you're going to do, you do it the best that you can, period. Even if it was something that I really wasn't that interested in, I was like, well, I'm committed to do that. I'm representing somebody. I need to be able to represent them the best that I can. They deserve that. They're the ones that are paying you for that. So I started learning and doing stuff, and I did 1 or 2 transactions, and they went great. No big deal. And then the big shift to my mindset, which is really what was going big, is I was still running my other company at the time. I was doing more real estate on the part-time. Is I got invited to go to a lunch to sit down with a couple bigger investors. And it was a last minute lunch. It was another friend of mine who I met in real estate. He called me up literally like 45 minutes. There's a Japanese restaurant downtown Salt Lake. Okay, it's over on State Street or something. He calls me up and goes, dude, I know you like good food. I got free lunch for you. Be here in 45 minutes. I don't want to look like a ding dong because my other person I invited just bailed on me. I can't show up to this lunch without having somebody else here with me. And I said, all right, cool. So I showed up to lunch and I sat there and the only thing I remember from this lunch was I don't think I even ate anything. I sat there almost like an awestruck. And as we left, I went up to the one of the guys that was on the other side of the table that we were listening to, or that I was listening to. And I say, hey, I don't mean offense by this, and this might sound really, really dumb, but everything that we just discussed at the table, that's legal? And he looked at me, he was like, yeah, of course. I was like, I didn't know that that's what real estate could be. He goes, oh yeah. He's like, most people think real estate is a very narrow-minded, oh, I'm just buying a house. He's like, yeah, that's like 90-something% of the agents, which is why a lot of them don't know what they're doing or don't provide value because they don't really truly grasp what real estate can be and what it is and how big it can be. And the ability to do stuff. And that's where I really learned of like, okay, it's all about the creativity, fixing a problem. Yes, it might be simple of just moving into a new house or selling a house, but it really is, well, why are you moving? What's going on? Why are you selling? Why are you buying? And a lot of people don't ask those tough questions because a lot of real estate agents are afraid of conflict, or they don't want to, or they can't answer those questions for people. So that if they don't ask them, they don't have to answer them. And I was thoroughly impressed, and my eyes were wide open. I came home that day from my other job, told my wife, and we put the business up for sale, sold it 4 weeks later, and I jumped full steam, full time into real estate and haven't looked back. And that's been 6-7 years now. Yeah. And that's kind of what got me to where I'm at now and my mindset on what I'm doing.
I have a very similar story about entering an industry, kind of kicking and screaming and not really wanting to do it. And here I am as well, 7 years later, still doing it. Mm-hmm. And just because of one experience that I said, wait, this is possible. Like I 3 weeks into moving, it was just something that I was trying to do to put money in my pocket. And then I joined a job that paid $80,000. And I was like, wait, hold up. You can make this much money from one moving job? So rest is history. So I have a very similar entrance to the industry a story as well. What would you say makes your approach or style stand out?
It's really about the clients. I really try to find out what they're trying to achieve from whatever the situation is. And sometimes it's what made me good at my other businesses that I owned was it truly was about the client. And what I mean by that is I had a transaction last year where we ended up afterwards. I said, look, I don't think it's good for you to do anything right now. It just didn't make sense. And it wasn't me pushing into them. They qualified for money. They qualified for stuff. But after we ran the scenarios of what they were trying to achieve, it made sense for them not to do anything at that time. Yeah. And that's where I think I know I stand out of what I've had people compliment on of, hey, look, you actually cared about the reason or the long depth question of what are you doing? Taking every transaction, looking at it as a potential investment, even if you're not really into investing into real estate right now, but knowing to have a little thought into there of going, how is this going to play out in 2, 3, 5, 10 years? What are we going to do? What's our next move? And most people, they don't think about that because they never get asked that.
Yeah.
And so they don't know. And then when you ask them, they go, I don't know. I never really thought about that. I just looked at as a home, as a place to sleep and to raise my family and to stay out of the weather. And I try to get them to think of it as a business or an investment that they have the opportunity to live in.
Yeah. Absolutely. I think that that's extremely important. I mean, not every consumer is thinking about big picture, thinking about long term, and not every agent is thinking about that as well. And so having that entrepreneurial bone in your body, plus on top of it, having a wealth of real estate knowledge, I think is a winning solution to being able to have the best outlook for your clients. And I think that's extremely important because that's what I value. Mm-hmm. You know, I want my agent to say, I think this is a bad call. You're looking at a certain property and be like, look, this thing might have asbestos.
Yeah, who knows? Yeah,
I don't think this is a good call, right? Mm-hmm. Let's go with, and that is something that happened with me. I was looking at either a 1960s fixer-upper or a 9-year-old house with an unfinished basement. Mm-hmm. It's like, do I want to put $150,000 into renovating this old house, or do I want to add the basement, add the 2 bedrooms and the bathroom in the unfinished basement and have the same effect and not have to put ourselves at risk of asbestos poisoning in the process. So that was really important. What common mistakes do you see people make when buying or selling?
As far as regular individuals or agents or
anybody?
Both of them?
Both.
Okay. The absolute biggest one is, and I can't stress this enough, and I know I sound like a total parent at this point, but there's no such thing as a stupid question. You have to ask questions. You have to ask. That was one of the things that I learned when I bought my first house is I not that I got made fun of, but I asked a couple questions like, what is escrow, or what is a home inspection, or what is this? And I kind of got looked at like, you don't know what that means? I'm like, no, I've never done this before. Like, I didn't know. Most people only buy 1 or 2 homes in their life. So they don't know. And so asking that questions on doing that. And then on the agent side of it is not being afraid to ask those questions to your clients, not being afraid to, hey, yeah, you might lose the transaction or you might not close the deal, because then they're thinking about their dollars and a paycheck instead of the actual client. Figure out what is good for them. Ask the questions of, why am I buying this house? You just brought up the example of, the fixer upper versus, the adding, the addition of the basement and stuff. Yeah. That right there is a great, great, great example, because what I would do at that point of really sit down, a lot of people watch the DIY TV, you can thank HGTV for this disaster of it's so easy to rehab a house that they don't think about, hey, that means when you come home from work, you have to spend 1, 2, 3, 4 hours a day doing this. You have to do this on top of what you're normally doing. Factor that in on a time. Put $1 to an hourly wage to it. What are you not doing in order to go rehab this house? Okay. What is your potential costs? Do you want to live in this neighborhood? Why are you rehabbing this house? You're adding bedrooms to your house. Okay. Well, is now the house that you're buying, is it going to be overdone for the neighborhood? A lot of people don't think about, like, when they're redoing a house, they're like, oh, I'm going to remodel this. I'm going to make this so cute and fancy and blah, blah, blah. But it still has to fit the neighborhood, because when you go and sell that house, even though it may be an amazing home, the people that are going to be buying it coming in, are they going to want to be in your home in that neighborhood?
Yeah.
Asking these bigger questions. And some people are like, no, I want the rehab. That great, let's do it. I want you to know these things. And some people go, oh shoot, you know what? I could actually work 2 hours more. I could work 1 hour more a day at my job and make more money than what it would cost for me to rehab the house myself. You know what? I don't want to rehab.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's just asking questions, talk it out. Don't be afraid to actually talk it out before you go and buy.
Yeah.
Not after you buy. That's too late for that.
Yeah, it's done.
Yeah.
All right. Ask questions,
Yes,
please.
ask.
And so, what is a wild or unforgettable story from your time in real estate? I know that's a loaded question.
Oh yeah, like he said, my intro on my bio is I specialize in crazy. I love crazy. It finds me apparently. There's so many. Let's see. So I'll give a couple brief examples. Anywhere from running trusts, with family members, getting those set up, whether it's or dealing with a divorce bankruptcy situation, which is, very sad and stuff like that. Those are very complicated and can get very complicated, and especially if they're not done correctly. I think my most craziest one was dealing with a death in a home.
That happened in the home?
Excuse me. Older individual died of natural causes.
Yeah.
But where the part gets crazy is it was an older individual who died from natural causes who wasn't found for many months.
Ooh.
Because they didn't have family. Nobody checked in on them. It was actually the mailman who knew this individual because he's been delivering mail for 30 years to this neighborhood, was like, hey, something's not right. The mail person called the cops and had them do a force entry and found them there. This is a quick story, and then I'm going to share one of my most favorite transactions that I've ever done too, real quick.
Perfect.
So this one was just an interesting one because I learned a ton of how to deal with it. One, how do you deal with cleaning up a body?
Extreme disaster.
Like it's nuts. But here, I learned something. Did you know your home insurance covers that?
Yeah.
I learned because this individual actually canceled their home insurance 2 years prior because they had paid off the house, blah, 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 and they didn't want to say, they wanted to save money. So now the family of this deceased person had to pay to have hazmat clean up, and then learning that there's different levels of that. They just cut out the floor. Well, then we had to hire a contractor to come in and to put a new floor in. Like, they literally just took a skill saw and cut out the floor.
Yeah.
I was like, well, now what? We still have to sell the house.
Yeah.
So all that stuff. So, I mean, that's probably the most insane, crazy one of really trying to understand the legal stuff, what we do, how do we do it, what do we disclose, what we don't have to disclose, all of that marketing side. I would say one of my most fun transactions that I've ever done was because I asked an individual, it was a young guy who was referred to me. He was looking at renewing his rental lease at his apartment. He had 4 friends that lived in the house. And this was this most recent one was just last month, last year. And super like emotional for me because it was cool to watch this young kid, especially in the younger generation, they're being taught on social media, being taught by their family of you're never going to buy. You will just rent forever because look at the craziness of what it is.
Yeah.
And I try to change that. And so this kid came to me, he was 22 years old, and said, hey, my dad wants me to talk to you about real estate before I go renew my lease. And I was like, all right, cool, man. So we went and had lunch and chatted. And that was about 6 months prior to him renewing. And I said, look, let's just investigate some options. And so I said, first thing, let's go talk to a lender. Let's see what you can actually do by yourself. And he qualified for basically a big refrigerator box. That was it. Now, I said, look, don't get discouraged. You still qualified for a good amount at your age, at what your income is. Now, by yourself, you can't do this. Now, once again, remember, I said, let's think of this as a business that you can live in. People partner on businesses all the time. Mm-hmm. So why not partner on a house with other individuals? I said, your 3 best friends that live in the house with you. He's like, yeah. I said, you guys going to still stay together? He's like, yeah, that's why we got this place. I said, cool. Let's get all of you guys to come talk to the lender. Let's see what each one of them qualify for. So each one of them qualified for about the same thing, a giant IKEA refrigerator box.
Yeah.
And I said, look, now let's play around with numbers and let's see what we can do. We ended up buying a $660,000 home that had 6 bedrooms plus an basement apartment on top of those 6 bedrooms.
Incredible.
And they closed out the lease on their apartment that they were paying. They moved into this house. We structured an LLC together. We got them set up. They all own the house. They all live up there. They're all single guys with the intention of, hey, we're only going to be here a year to 2 years, and then we're going to move out and manage this or sell it or whatnot. And so to watch this kid at 22 and his friends now own a house that are building equity on that, and even with the market the way it's at, they've still grown in equity, and they didn't throw any of that money down the drain towards an apartment that was just going away. It was amazing to see these guys come back up to me, a year later, go, hey, thank you. We now have a new look on business and opportunity. This is cool. So I think that's probably my most favorite one, is thinking outside the box and making something happen. But because there's information, they didn't know.
Yeah. I mean, I think most people would not think to make that happen. I actually started researching that with fractional ownerships with a cabin. I'm like, who's my top 5 people that I want to just own a cabin with and try to do a fractional ownership with a vacation property possibly. Yep. So I've been looking into that a little bit. My next question is, how are you leveraging, or how are you using content, tech, and social media to stay ahead?
Good question. I'm terrible at it. Always can be better. And I think that's the one thing of just owning up of, it's a constant ever-changing market in that side of it because it's fast-paced. Tech is constantly changing. You have AI that's coming into play now a lot, generating stuff. Whether you're running virtual assistants or whatever you're doing. What I do is I try to focus on, for me, is putting out bits of information on teaching people on how to learn to get that, hopefully, of here, I'm not here to just buy and sell a house to you. I want you to create a little bit of wealth. I want you to think differently. Reach out to me. Let's talk. Let's just set something up. It might be a year before we actually do something. So I do a lot of aerial footage. That's one thing on the social media side. I really try to put out videos that are not just walking into a front door. Yeah. I mean, that's cool. But the statistics show more people buy the neighborhood than they do the actual home. They want to see where that house is. They want to see what it's close to. So I focus on a lot of that and doing high-end content. We're now addicted to high-end, like 4K. We want everything nice. So you can't put out something that's in 360 resolution. No one's going to watch it. Even though it's amazing content, no one's watching it, because that's what we've created for ourselves, is because that's what you watch. If you're watching social media or YouTube or other stuff, are you stopping on the ones that don't grab your attention? So having to think about that is frustrating sometimes. So, but it's good. But it's always trying to stay ahead.
Oh, perfect.
Honey, who are we gonna get to help us move?
I'll see if Brad can give us a hand. Hey Brad, what you doing, buddy? Well, we're moving today and I was wondering if you could help us out.
I'd rather wax the hair off my head. No. I'd rather go 10 rounds with Mike Tyson. Oh my gosh. I'd rather let my dog...
Friends don't want to help you move. Call Miracle Movers, and we'll take the pain and stress of moving off your hands. Well, what I want to do is head into our rapid fire round, where I ask questions and you give me your best quick answers.
Okay.
We'll get this started. What's your favorite local lunch spot after a long showing day?
I like JCW's or R&R Barbecue.
Shout out JCW's and R Bar. I just had R&R like 2 days ago.
Yeah,
Good spot.
I eat there too much.
What is your dream vacation when you finally get to unplug?
Every year I go to Baja and run off-road for about a week, about 1,200 miles. And I mean, right now we're going in the end of February. I can't wait right now. So that I look forward to that every single year.
Are you doing that in the side-by-side?
We do that in the side-by-side. So we go drive down to Baja. We run the big loop. Not necessarily the race course, but there's parts of it that's the race course. But we spend a week down there, do about 1,200 miles. And it's just amazing, speechless every time, every single time.
That's a way to unplug. I love that. Open house must-haves: stacks, music, candles. What are your must-haves?
Open house must-haves. People there. You got to get people there. So I don't really care about what's inside the house. I think, like, as far as snacks, water, all that stuff, I honestly think all that stuff is completely bogus, because that's not why people come to your open house. So I don't care. I don't hand out free water. I don't hand out goodie bags. I don't hand out candy and crumble cookies and all that other stuff. I focus on getting people in the house. So tons of signage, tons of word of mouth, knocking doors nearby, letting the neighborhood know there is an open house. Yeah. Come do this. And that's what makes an open house for me.
Love it. What is the most used app on your phone right now?
Most used app on my phone? Well, I'll tell you right now. I'll pull up screen time.
Oh, there we go.
I'll be honest with what
We're gonna look at the data
with where I'm at. Screen time averages this week. I have ChatGPT. So it's going back to social media, getting ideas, doing stuff. Then I have TikTok, Facebook, and the real estate MLS, local MLS, and then text messages. So just today, I've spent 28 minutes texting already this morning, and that's clients, family, getting things done.
You're better than me. I think I have 28 unread text messages. What's your favorite way to recharge outside of work?
Kind of go back to that bio of mine. I'm a big adrenaline guy. I love going fast. I love off-road stuff. I'm working on opening up an off-road race shop right here locally. I like doing that stuff, but to come back real quick, the whole reason I'm next step into every business decision I've ever made is building memories with your family or the people who you love and care about. And whatever that is, if it's football, basketball, I can't stand, but I want to go do those things. So Baja, I mentioned, last year I took my wife. The years before, I've taken my kids. Making those memories that will last a lifetime is what I focus on.
Love it. And real quick, how can people connect with you if they want to buy, sell, or follow your journey?
Well, I get the contact information on this right here. And then just the best way is to follow me on social media and then shoot a text or a DM and let's go sit down. I mean, I love to eat. So breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks, let's go and chat and just have a no strings attached information get together.
Awesome. Well, thanks again, Aric, for joining us today. If you're in real estate and you're a professional who's ready to sit at the closing table, shoot us a message. And if you want to work with a mover who treats your clients like family, you know where to find us. I'm Landon. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I gotta add a plug. He doesn't know this, but Miracle Movers really is absolutely amazing. I've watched these guys start up and grow, and they do a fantastic job. The reviews and the clienteles that have been with them, I have heard back what they don't even realize that they really do an amazing job. So I appreciate you having me on and taking your business to the next level as well.
Well, I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. Well, I'm Landon with Miracle Movers, and we'll see you on the next episode.